All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update. And if you haven't already checked it out, you are going to want to check out a post that I did just this morning on YouTube. I woke up to a very nasty email from a fan of my channel, apparently. And it's a pretty funny read. This person has now been listed as spam, and I also sent it off as an abuse report to Google, because that's where the email address came from, so they'll be able to verify this person since it's through them. And so hopefully they will no longer be a problem. But this is the kind of stuff I have to deal with my channel, and it's pretty hilarious. I'm not going to give them the benefit of showing it here in a video, but you can go read it. I did not reveal the person's name, but yeah, it's kind of fun, the stuff I get, and it shows you how mentally unstable some people are. And it's kind of scary that people can be that volatile. And yeah, I don't put up with stuff like that. So good luck on trying to get me banned. It's not going to happen because I don't personally attack people, and so I never will. I mean, unless you come at me like that, yes, that's a whole different story. So, yeah, let's get into some of the photos that I have, produced over the last 24 hours. And what's interesting is, one thing I forgot to mention in my last email is, 2 videos ago, I talked about how James Gunn was promoting his Suicide Squad movie, The Suicide Squad, on, actually hitting Netflix, and how his is not trending at all. And he's the only director who came out and actually said something. Now, I will tell you that David Ayer did come out and say something, and I shared his post on Twitter. He did come out and say something, but only after the movie was getting high praise on Netflix. So his is, hitting those notes when they actually happen. He didn't come out beforehand and state that, go check out my movie, it's on Netflix. He was just posting about it after the fact. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at these photos that I grabbed today. So the big thing that came across here that has everybody talking on Twitter, and I'm actually going to back James Gunn up on something. It says, first of all, this says, actually, DC games aren't required to be canon to the film universe. And this is via James Gunn it just says on Threads, I guess on Twitter. I'm not sure where this actually came from. It may have been an interview. But people used this as an opportunity to say that he lied again. And I don't think he necessarily lied, but I do want to point out before I get into this conversation that there were some outlets out there, some news outlets, that were promoting James Gunn when all of this went down about a year ago. And they've been praising him ever since for his clarity and his willingness to get on social media and clarify things, and so that people aren't confused. And all he's done since is make things even more confusing, okay? There's no question about it. He is definitely muddying the waters, and this is one of those things, because he did say in his original, I believe it was the original video, I was going to go watch it to see, but in his original announcement video, I think he said everything across games, movies, and TV shows were all going to be interconnected, which leads people to believe that everything that they produce is going to be interconnected. But now he's saying they're not. And we're going to look at what he has said in the past on Twitter in one of these photos. Now, this is something I wanted to share, and this is interesting, and this goes back to what I mentioned about the Suicide Squad. It's not a good movie. I don't like it. The first time I saw it, I thought it was okay. The second time I watched it, it was worse. And I just don't like the movie for all sorts of reasons. Full frontal nudity, the language, the characters that are completely unlike their true, comic counterparts. And this person, Travis Thomas, posted, because the Suicide Squad is pure garbage. Been reading suicide comics since the mid-1980s, and Gunn doesn't know jack about comics or the characters he claims to know. Also, in Peacemaker, nobody in that show is like their comic counterpart at all. And I've mentioned this many times in the past. What did he do to Vigilante is disgusting, and the Suicide Squad merchandise is a non-seller, and Blu-ray and 4K is dust collectors, along with the McFarlane, the Suicide Squad figures. Nobody wants them. And this is very true. I can tell you at the comic shop that I go to, these figures, they've had them forever. They're not selling. You can find them reduced. These never sold, and I thought they were going to be hard to find. This movie, from every aspect, from the money it made in theaters, and people are going to say it was because it was in a pandemic, because it was rated R, that it didn't do that well. But the home video sales also didn't do well. The toys didn't sell well. There is nothing about the Suicide Squad that people actually care about. It is not the hit Warner Brothers claimed it was. It is, and this is the guy that they put all of their eggs in his basket. And that's kind of scary stuff, guys. So someone posted on Twitter that not every incoming DC video game will be canon to the new DCU, says James Gunn. This person said, once again, James Gunn is caught in a lie, but back in 2022, he said everything would connect. And we're going to see the responses to this, okay? And this goes back to 11/27/2022. And somebody said, and this was directly at James Gunn, they asked James Gunn, are there plans for games to be connected to the DCU as well, Mr. Gunn? He responded with yes. The next person said, I hope not all games will be connected to the movie universe. We would have never gotten the amazing Batman Arkham or Injustice games if they had to be canon to the movies. James Gunn responded with not all. Okay? Now, this does contradict kind of what he discussed in his announcement video, but I will give him the benefit of the doubt on this one. Now, here is the problem with this, and this is where the clarity doesn't come in. He really does need to make a new video, I think, at this point to get in the good graces of fans, because it's an uphill battle. There is no question about it. I am not excited for anything James Gunn is doing. I think this is going to be a disaster. And so James Gunn has an uphill battle with him, that he's got to fight. And I think it would behoove him to come out and make some clarification on some things in a new announcement video, because that's what everyone points back to. And these one-off responses on Twitter, nobody else is going to see these, but people do grab the stills so that they can share them to show that people are just blowing smoke. And my goal is to never lie on my channel. I'm going to call him out on the stuff that he does lie about. The biggest so far being the fact that he wanted Ben Affleck to direct for them, that Ben Affleck wanted to direct for them. They were just looking for the right movie. But then Ben Affleck had that huge interview. I can't remember if it was Rolling Stone, Variety, or Hollywood Reporter. I don't remember what it was. I believe it was Rolling Stone. But in there, he stated that he does not want to direct anything for the DCU, and he was very adamant about it. So James Gunn has lied on numerous occasions, and I've covered all of that stuff. This one is not necessarily a lie, but the problem comes because this hasn't been announced to everybody. He's doing these one-off answers. He really needs to get off social media. I'm telling you, the guy needs to get off social media. He needs to do a new video and be done with it. I've never seen another studio head behave the way he does on social media. This needs to be fixed. Now, this comes from the Hollywood Handle, and it's not really from the Hollywood Handle. They were reporting on it, but I wanted to talk about this photo. It is IMDb's list of the top number one films of 2023. Well, they list Oppenheimer as a top film of 2023. And they give their list here of what they think IMDb says, or what IMDb says is their top 10. And I have to question this list because, number one, Oppenheimer's on there. That is number one, which was one of the best films I've seen this year. And I'm going to talk about what my favorite film was of the year here in a minute. Number two on their list was Barbie. Okay? That certainly made more money than anything else this year. Oppenheimer has also made a ton of money. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I would put it on my top 10 for the year, but it would be nowhere near the top. The Little Mermaid, never even saw it. I'm tired of the race swapping in Hollywood. I had no interest to see that movie. It's my wife's favorite animated film, and because of all the changes they made, we just have chosen not to watch it. We may watch it now that it's free on Disney, but we're tired of the race swapping. I think everybody's getting tired of it. John Wick, Chapter 4, is their number 5 film. That is my number 1 film of the year. I loved John Wick 4. I think it is one of the greatest action films ever made. That film was pretty phenomenal. I still prefer John Wick 1 over all the movies, but I wouldn't put it as a great film, great action film. This one I put as a great action film. There were things that they did in that movie that have never been done before. It was very visceral, amazing film. I think I saw it 4 times in the theater. Number 6 is the Super Mario Brothers movie. Now, that would be also, I think I put that as, I think my top 3 would be John Wick 4, 2 would be Oppenheimer, number 3 would be Super Mario Brothers, and on this list, for me, the 4th would be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. They put Five Nights at Freddy's as number 7. I don't even think that would make my top 10. You also have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I did enjoy that movie quite a bit. That might be in my top 5. Killers of the Flower Moon is number 9. That wouldn't even make it on my top 10. I saw it. The first half and the second half are completely different films, and I think it was a little disrespectful in the messaging because the first half was compelling, trying to show you the injustices, and then the second half was more of a courtroom drama that was disconnected from the first half. And then The Flash was listed at number 10. The Flash would not even be on my list at all for the year at all. But my top 3, I think, that I really enjoyed would be John Wick 4, Oppenheimer is number 2, and Super Mario is number 3. Guardians of the Galaxy and Spider-Man, I think, would put out my top 5 on this list. But, yeah, it's been an interesting year. I'm going to have to go back and look at all the movies that were released this year and maybe do my top 10 at some point for the year. Maybe I'll do that as we get towards the end of the year. I'll do my top 10 video. But, The Flash doesn't even deserve to be on this list. Nothing DC did this year deserves to be on this list. Now, one of the other things that I thought was funny that I saw on Twitter, but I didn't grab it to show you guys the picture, but the other day there was a photo of James Gunn with his coordination team for Superman Legacy, and they were seen traveling in a van together. And somebody posted a picture of that type of van and said, "This is the van that my parents always warned me about when I was a kid, to never to never communicate with the people in a van like this." And I just thought it was humorous. This goes to show you just how bad the image is. And Warner Brothers has a lot to do to fix their image. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. All right, guys, so that is my DC update for the day. I do appreciate all the support, and we will see you on the next video.